Hey YouTube, I'm Blaze, and today we're going to have a look at what Asajj Ventress would be like if she was in Star Wars Battlefront 2. This is a Ventress villain concept and is going to be my follow-up to the Ahsoka video I've already done. Go check that out if you haven't seen it already. And Ahsoka is probably the most likely hero to come out next, as she's been heavily teased by devs, and if she is going to come into the game, Asajj will definitely be her counterpart, so it's only fitting that I do a concept for Ventress. Keep in mind this is all my own opinion, and so if you have any other ideas, feel free to let us all know in the comments below. Jumping right into it with the general theme I'm trying to give Ventress here is that I want her to have the right balance between, let's say, Ahsoka's extreme agility, but also the strength and the power to actually remain in encounters but given only a short amount of time. Moving on to Ventress's base stats, I've given her 750 health, which is the average for most lightsaber heroes. Any more and she would become too much of a tank, and any less and she'd be too reliant on her agility. Her health regen is 250, average once again, for the same reasons, and her stamina is low. However, aside, her deflection accuracy is actually really good, and that allows her to be able to go up to a bunch of enemies, deflect a bit. Obviously she'll have to move afterwards, but whilst she's doing that, she really encompasses the role of strength in that particular encounter. And then her recovery is very fast, so she can get back into the fight at 2 seconds. And then her saber damage is 120 from the front and 150 from behind. I didn't want to give the dark side another very high damage saber user, but instead I wanted her to rely on some of her abilities a bit more, but also obviously keeping the fact that if she goes behind enemies, she can take out assault officers and specialists with one hit. And the last thing I did for her in her base stats was I've given her a really fast speed, not necessarily as fast as, let's say, Maul, but definitely faster than the likes of Rey, for example, and other heroes like that. For her first ability, I thought I'd give her a double saber rush, and this is going to work a bit like Luke's saber rush in the original EA Battlefront, and so this works in the sense that wherever she aims, she will dash in that area, even if it's up into the sky, with both sabers, and she's going to bring those along either side of her body until the end, when she's just going to like crisscross them, and it's going to deal 75 damage per saber. So if you hit enemies on the apex of that, that's going to deal 150 damage. However, if you're just skimming past enemies, it's not really going to do that much. And this is, of course, unlike other saber rushes, going to be on a single charge, because the fact that she can just pretty much leap wherever she likes this ability, it's not going to be very balanced if she can do that 3 times in a row. I have given this a 12-second recharge, which is quite a long recharge, I know. However, if you take into account the fact that once she's done the saber rush, the enemies at the end of her rush will take 150 damage, which means it's pretty much one swing to all of them and they're dead. It is actually a pretty powerful ability, and also the fact that she can leap wherever she likes because it's not limited to the ground like the rest of the saber rushes in this game are. I think that a recharge of 12 seconds is actually really fair, and it allows her to rely more on her original speed and getting around enemies and blocking and so forth. Then for her second ability, I simply could not resist putting something really cool in here, which I know isn't strictly canon because it's more kind of Night Sister thing than it is an Asajj Ventress thing. However, I thought an ability called Assassin could work really well, where she can throw down a tiny potion of that green mist she uses in one of the Clone Wars episodes, which makes her go invisible, or kind of invisible. She looks a bit smoky, and I think this should have a duration of 5 seconds during which she's pretty much invisible. And obviously, if you've got your lightsabers on, they can still see your lightsabers, and you are like a faint outline, so you can still be shot at. However, the damage you do during this ability's active time is going to be double. So this means you can deal 300 damage on the apex of your dash. You can deal 300 damage if you hit someone from behind, which is a lot of damage. And obviously, if you pop this in the middle of a group of enemies and then go ham for 5 seconds, that can verge on overpowered. So the first strike you do will cancel the ability's effects immediately. However, if you're, let's say, in the middle of the dash, the effects will count for the entire dash. If you're in the middle of a strike, all the enemies you hit will take double damage. It's just that if you do a second strike after that, you will not be invisible and you will not have the double damage. You will also be taken off the radar, because obviously if they can't see you but they can see you on the minimap, then that's not very helpful. And to balance things out slightly, I've given it a recharge time of 15 seconds, and granted for an ability this powerful it could be a bit longer. However, I did want to keep her overall playstyle a bit more dynamic, as putting this at 20 or 25 seconds would mean that she's going to be out of the fight a lot longer, and this assassin ability really allows her to close the distance whilst her dash is on cooldown. For her third and final ability, I've given her a force push named Push Dominance. Now whilst this is another force push in the game, it does actually counteract the 3 pushes we have on the light side and none we have on the dark side, so that does actually really help. It also counteracts the fact that the light side have Anakin's Passionate Strike, which allows you to strike through blocks, so Push Dominance also allows you to strike through blocks, and it has got a 1-second charge up, so if you are blocking and you know, oh hang on, she's charging up this ability, you can use a dash or a roll which will get rid of that, and it has got 200 damage, so if you fail to notice that 1-second charge up, this is a punishing ability, and it does have a very large area. It has got a recharge of 15 seconds, which is fairly balanced, as this is a powerful ability, but not so powerful that you want to push it down to the 20 or 25 second mark. Okay, that's going to wrap up that video. It is slightly compressed as I didn't want to spend 10 minutes talking about something which isn't even in the game, so if there wasn't as much complexity as you liked there, I'm sorry. Do let me know in the comments if you want me to change that, but other than that, make sure to stay subscribed, hit that bell, bye.